Hey, everybody. How's it going this evening? Good to see you. I hope that you are well, that God is blessing you, that you are healthy and well. For those of you who are logging on, you can hit the share button. Y'all know how we do it. Let's get them thumbs up. Let's get those hearts going. It is Wednesday. So how you feeling? How you doing? Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to our midweek Bible study. And I'm excited to be on tonight. I feel like it's been a minute, with Holy Week, and I've kind of been off for a minute. We had 7 last words, Monday, Thursday. We had a whole lot of stuff going on during Holy Week, and here we are tonight, back for our midweek Bible study. This past week, if you have not watched our Sunday service, I preached from the subject, relationships are risky, however, trust God. Relationships are risky, however, trust God. And I dealt with, after the resurrection of Christ, Jesus shows himself to the rest of the disciples. And there's one disciple there that does not believe, refuses to believe that Jesus has been risen from the dead. In fact, he says, "Let me put your hands where they nailed you. Let me put my hand where they pierced you in the side." And he, in the Gospel of John, is known as Doubting Thomas. From that sermon, I got a lot of questions. One of my points was about communication. And I want tonight to talk about the power of communication. In everything in life, we must learn how to communicate. If you do not know how to communicate, things are going to go crazy in your life. They're going to go crazy in your relationships. They're going to go crazy on your job. They're going to go crazy in your personal life. And I want to go back to that point, especially as it relates to the text. Let's go back to the gospel. Let's go back to John chapter 20. We're taking a look at verse 24 through 29. For those of you who are joining in, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to our midweek Bible study. I'm in John 20, verses 24 through 29. And here's what the word of the Lord says. Now, Thomas, also known as Didymus, one of the 12, was not with the disciples when Jesus came. So the other disciples told him, "We have seen the Lord." But he said to them, "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands, and put my finger where the nails were, and put my hand into his side, I will not believe." I'm not going to believe it until I can do that. A week later, his disciples were in the house again, and Thomas was with them. Though the doors were locked, Jesus came and stood amongst them and said, "Peace be with you." Then he said to Thomas, "Put your finger here. See my hands. Reach out your hand and put it into my side. Stop doubting and believe." Stop doubting and believe. And tonight, I just want to take a piece of the sermon I preached Sunday. And tonight, I just want to deal with communication. Now, let's do this. Let's go ahead and define communication. What is communication? And so the general definition of communication is simply, watch this, the act of transferring information from one person to another. Okay? I need y'all to stay with me. What is communication? Communication is the act of the act is simply the act of transferring information from one person to another person. And so if information has not transferred from one person to the next, communication has not happened. Now, in this communication piece, I was relating this to Doubting Thomas because one of the challenges in relationships in general is that somebody is always off. One person is willing, one person is trying to communicate, another person is not. Somebody at some point in time is always off. Now, the reason that that is critical as it relates to scripture is because throughout Jesus's life, Jesus had been trying to communicate, in particular, to the disciples. He tells them who he is. He tells them why he was sent. He performs miracles, and he says to them, even in one of the texts, greater works shall you do. So this whole time, Jesus is communicating. The challenge here, when we get to Thomas, is that he is doubting what Jesus had communicated to him. And this is the breakdown in communication. And this is where I want to be tonight. I want to talk about communication. I need 5 of y'all, real quick, just put it in the comment line. You have to learn how to communicate. Communication is the ball game. If you are not a good communicator, I guarantee you some of the challenges that you're having starts with your ability to communicate. Okay? So the purpose tonight is that you understand what communication is, and you understand that if you've not fully communicated, then there's going to be a problem in the middle of that. All right? Somebody say communication. You got to learn to communicate. Now, what is communication? Simply the act of transferring information from one person to the next. Communication is the act of giving. The act of giving. Okay, when you communicate, you give. Somebody put that in the comment line. When you're communicating, you're giving something. You're receiving something, and you're sharing something. So there are 3 parts in that, right? Giving, receiving, sharing. Communication. Giving, receiving, and sharing. You got to give. Somebody's got to give. Somebody's got to receive. Somebody's got to share. All right? You have not fully communicated if there's nothing being given, if there's nothing being received, and there's nothing being shared. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? All right? Every communication, and here's the ball game where I'm going to be tonight. Every communication involves 3 parts. Somebody say 3. Number 1, the sender. Number 2, the message. Number 3, the recipient. This is the most critical thing I'm going to say tonight. If all 3 have not happened, you have not communicated. Now, I know I just made some folks upset. Now, let's go back to number 1. Let's go to the sender. All right, I'm only talking to the sender right now. How many of you on the line tonight have been in a space where you feel like you're trying to communicate something and you're frustrated because what you are communicating is not being received? Raise your hand. Trying to get my hand in the camera, right? How many of us have been there, right? The sender. The sender's job, I need you to catch this. Your job is to make sure that the message you are sending has connected to the receiver. We get frustrated and upset and angry, and this is when the relationships fall apart, because somewhere in the middle of sending and receiving, the message gets lost. How many of you have ever been there? How many of you have ever been there? Talk to me tonight. How many of you have been there where you're trying to communicate? You feel like you said everything clear. You feel like wasn't nobody confused about what you said. You feel like you did every single thing you were supposed to do to communicate whatever it is that you're trying to communicate, but somehow or another, it wasn't received. Listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. That means you have not completed the round of communication. We believe that just because we said it and just because we think we communicated, that means that the circle of communication has happened. Now let's go back to the text. I keep saying this. Jesus, he's walking the earth. He's communicating. He's doing everything possible to make sure that his disciples and those that follow him understood the message. However, the message got lost because pain showed up. I just said something. The message got lost because when Jesus went to Calvary's mountain, when he went to the cross, everything that they had been taught, and it started falling apart at the Last Supper. Actually, if you go to the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus is praying, let this cup pass from me. He goes from the Garden of Gethsemane to being arrested, incarcerated. He goes from that to a man named Barabbas to against Jesus. The people picked Jesus to be crucified. Now, while all of this is happening, the disciples are watching. And all of a sudden, their relationship, where they were in good harmony with Jesus, goes to a different place because pain shows up. I need y'all to sit in there for a moment. What do you do when pain shows up? And whenever pain shows up, most of us stop communicating. We go through something difficult, something gets hard, something gets tough. Now all of a sudden, we're not communicating. Because in order for the circle of communication to happen, you must have a sender, you must have a message, and you must have a recipient. If all three hasn't happened, the circle of communication has not been completed. We are struggling with communication with what happens with the sender and what happens with the receiver. Somebody asked me, Pastor, what do you do when you have said it? Y'all come here because I don't want to lose you. Because I know some of y'all are like, well, wait a minute. I keep saying the same thing. I don't know what you want me to do. Why is the person not receiving it? Listen to me, senders. Put your hand up if you're a sender. Put me in the comment line if you are a sender, right? Senders. All senders have a message. I need y'all to get this. The most important thing you do when it comes to communication is how you handle that message. Most of us just want to be right. Wanting to be right is not going to help you cultivate sending a valuable message. I need you to sit in that tonight. If you want God to bless you, if you want your life to go to the next level, if you are tired of being where you are and you want more out of your life spiritually, right? You must master the art of knowing how valuable the message is. Now, what's the message? The message could be a million things. You know, if you're in a relationship, there's a million different things that the message could be. The message is just what you're trying to communicate. Y'all follow what I'm saying? But the sender's job is to make sure that the message, see, we get satisfied because we just want to deliver the message. No, that's half the problem. That's half the battle. We are fighting and scruffling and scratching just because we delivered the message. Well, the circle of communication hasn't happened. The only way the circle can be completed is if the message has been received. Now I hear somebody screaming at me through Facebook and YouTube tonight, and you're saying, but what if the person don't want to receive the message? Well, there lies the problem. I ain't tell you it was easy. Somebody just breathed. I just felt like somebody had a woosah moment, right? That's the problem. The problem is in the other side receiving the message. That was the problem with Thomas, doubting Thomas. Jesus, it's not like Thomas didn't know who Jesus was. It's not like Thomas didn't walk with Christ. I need y'all to sit in that for a moment. When we read this text, understand that Thomas was one of the 12. He was in the inner circle. And if Thomas, who is a disciple, misses the message, Thomas says, let me go back to the text, because this is the best part of the text when Thomas says this. Watch this. Now Thomas Didymus, one of the 12, verse 25. So the other disciples told him, meaning the disciples told Thomas, we have seen the Lord. Now I need y'all to get this. They're communicating with Thomas. They're telling Thomas, we seen him. Watch what Thomas says. But he said to them, meaning Thomas, says back to the disciples, unless I see the nail marks in his hands and put my finger where the nails were and put my hands in his side, I will not believe. Now I need you to get that and put that in the context of your life. Because when you're trying to communicate, you're going to always have a Thomas who doesn't want to receive the message. It doesn't change the fact that in order for the circle of communication to happen, you have to have a sender, you have to have a message, and the message has to be received. The challenge is getting the message to be received, because you're going to come across some Thomases in your life. If I'm speaking to somebody say amen tonight. If you've ever had to face a Thomas in your life, put me. I've been there, Pastor. If you ever had difficulty in communication because you had to deal with a Thomas spirit, all right, talk back to me. Who has been in a season in your life where you've had to deal with a Thomas spirit? Somebody who refuses to believe. And the good thing is Thomas does finally believe, but I'm gonna tell you what happens, how we get there. All right. So again, let me go back. I want this to sit in your spirit because I want us to be better communicators. I want you to think more about how to deliver your message than just feeling like because you said it, it makes you right. I want you to be convicted tonight. I want you to stop taking on the attitude that just because you said something or just because you delivered something to somebody, that means that message is received. One of the greatest problems in our community, in our churches, and in our personal lives is we don't know how to give people messages. It's not just enough to say you the big bad wolf and I'm gonna tell anybody what I feel, and you're hurting people's feelings. You're making a worse mess out of it because you feel like because you're right, because you're sitting in the driver's seat, that you could say what you want to say, and because you said it, that means the person has to take it. That's not communication. I don't care how you slice it up. I don't care how you dice it up. Unless the sender has delivered the message and the message has been received, you ain't communicating. Now, I'm going to say something to you, because a lot of times you don't realize that the message was received. Communication doesn't mean the person has to do what you say do. That ain't got nothing to do with communication. Communication has nothing to do with, well, Pastor, I gave a message, the person received the message, but then they didn't do what the message says. That ain't got nothing to do with communication. A lot of times, some of you are communicating well, you're just getting lost in what happens with the message. That's a whole nother subject. Are y'all following me? So don't get it confused, that because there might be some people on the night that are good communicators. Your job is, number one, get the message, the sender, message, receiver. If those three things has happened, full communication has happened. Communication don't have nothing to do with what I do when I get the message. Y'all following me? Let me go back to the text. Let me prove it. Let me prove it to you. In the same text, John 20, verse 25, so the other disciples told him, we have seen the Lord. Now, I need you to get this, because Thomas was not with the other disciples when Christ showed himself. And so part of the reason that Thomas doubted, and part of the reason that Thomas is lifted up in John, is because he wasn't there. Now, one of the other points I preached on Sunday was showing up. Showing up, amen, somebody, is a part of healthy relationships. Knowing how to show up. I ain't dealing with the show up tonight, but I want to show you something. Because Thomas doesn't show up, he does not visibly see that Jesus is showing himself to the disciples. That doesn't mean that Jesus didn't communicate what what he said he was going to do, because Thomas knew that Jesus was going to Calvary's mountain. Thomas knew that Jesus said, I'm going to rise in 3 days. And Thomas wasn't the only person who doubted. Thomas is the only person who has the courage to say what he feels. But just because he feels that way does not mean that Christ didn't communicate. Now you come here, because there are times in your life where, just like Jesus, you will communicate with people, you will send a message, the message will be received, but what happens on the other end of that message has nothing to do with communication. You did your job, but the person didn't receive it. When I say receive it, I mean they took what you said, or they took the message and did something with it. That ain't got nothing to do with communication. Once you have done your job in terms of communication, you've done your job. And what is your job? Let's go back to it. Communication, right? Every communication involves a sender, a message, and a recipient. That's communication. That's the circle of communication, all right? And what is communication? The act of transferring information from one person to the next. And what are those three ingredients that you got to have? You have to have the act of giving, receiving, and sharing. All right? When you are giving, you are communicating. When you are sharing, you are communicating. And when you are receiving, you are communicating. It's very important, people of God, to understand the other side of communication. And that is when you receive something, when you receive information. You know why our parents say thank you? Thank you signifies you have received what was given to you. So you say thank you to communicate, I got it. Are y'all with me tonight? When you have received information, do a better job of making sure that the person who sent you the information communicate back with that person. I received what you said. Thank you for what you said. I got what you said. I got your prayer. Thank you for the email. Thank you for the text. Thank you for reaching out. Come on, somebody. Can y'all imagine how easy life would be if everybody started to focus and master communication? Think about how relationships would be different. Number one reason people break up in a relationship. Y'all know what it is? Somebody put it in the comment line. It's communication. It's communication. Not knowing how to communicate with people. Not knowing that not only do you have a responsibility, because in a relationship, at some point, you're going to be the sender. At some point, you're going to be the message. And at some point, you're going to be the recipient. You know what our biggest problem is? We never communicate back in relationships that we received information. How do you know? I'm asking this a question. I'm going to have to look on my phone to see who's going to talk back to me. How do you know you're in love? Somebody want to take a shot at it? I got my phone in hand. I want to see who wants to step up to the plate tonight. How do you know you're in love? Anybody want to say something? Come on, I'll give you 2 seconds. Somebody put something in the comment. How do you know you are in love? I need somebody to answer that question. I got 19 folk on the line, and I'm waiting on one person to ask that question. How do you know you're in love? Come on, let me start. Okay, somebody said, okay, Jackie, I feel it in my heart. Okay, Amber, when you feel loved back. Okay, Tracy. Yeah, you're right. Some people are so quick to say thank you when they have not actually received the information. I'm going to go back to that, Tracy. Let me go back to this. How do you know you're in love? Jackie says, I feel it in my heart. Okay, now I'm asking y'all, to feel it in your heart means what? That the sender, whoever was sending that love, had a message of love that the recipient felt. Now that can come in a whole lot of different ways, right? But I know it because I feel it. All right. I'm looking for some more. When you feel love back, okay, same thing. Because remember I said receiving information is just as important as giving information. I just said something. Did y'all hear what I just said? Receiving information is just as important as receiving it. Sending it is just as important as receiving it. Let me tell y'all something. This is going to be some real talk, especially when it comes to relationships. Most people at some point talk themselves out of good things. I see it happen all the time. Not every, so y'all don't have to start going crazy on the text message. This is everything I'm saying is not one size fit all. Okay? I'm just speaking in general here. Because to be loved, you first have to love yourself. Okay? To give love. See, whatever you give, you're giving as a reflection. As a sender, you're giving a reflection of yourself. Christ gave himself to the disciples. He gave himself. He wanted himself to be reflected in them. But look, they were so dysfunctional, they did not see that reflection back in themselves, which is partly why it was so difficult for them to get it together. If you are going to understand the power that we have in relationships, right? We must fully understand that to give love, to give of ourselves, we have to equally be able to receive that back, right? When somebody gives you something and you can't receive it, that's a problem. I need you to understand that's a problem. If every time somebody gives you a nickel and you feel too great that you can't receive that, that's problematic. See, that's an indication that your pride and your ego is in your way and you're not even aware of it. I give you $20, you give it back. Oh no, Pastor, I don't need your money. So now, me, the sender, I'm giving, right? And the thing that I'm giving is being returned back to me because the person feels unworthy. You can make that in any aspect of a relationship. You have to equally be mentally, psychologically, physically prepared to receive what you put out. What did I say communication is? Sending a message that is received. That's a good sentence. Somebody just put that in a sentence. Communication. Sending a message that has been received. How do you know you're in love? I feel it. Sending a message that has been received. How do you know that somebody loves you? Something I feel. When I feel what I've given back has been returned to me. Y'all follow where we're going? So here we go. Number one, in the relationships that are important to you, I want you guys to become master communicators. I'm already at 29 minutes. Can I have a few more minutes tonight, y'all? I know I'm going a little long, but I feel like I need to stay here. So I might be a little long tonight. I'm not going to go too long, but I feel like I just need to talk this out because it's going to help somebody. Okay, so if you have a friend or somebody, I'll be on here a few more minutes because I feel like I need to do the deep dive into this. Text somebody right now. Get them live on this Bible study because God is going to bless tonight. And you can't be selfish and have it all to yourself. I want you to be so amazing and so powerful that your friendships, your relationships, and your communication will flourish you and literally throw you in a whole new dimension. Because communication is on so many levels, y'all. It ain't just our relationships. It's on our jobs. It's in our personal lives. I mean, listen, gossip is about communication. Somebody put that in the comment line. That's a good tweet. All gossip is the middle section of communication where the message got lost. That's gossip. Gossip is nothing more or nothing less than the message being lost. That's what gossip is. Because there's three things we got to have. Someone sending a message and someone receiving a message. And the more you become a master at that, right? A master at that with your children, a master at that in your personal and intimate relationships, a master at that on your job, a master at that when it comes to your spiritual development, that you understand that everything that God gives you, every chance you have to communicate, literally life and death is at the balance. Everything, every time you open up your mouth, every time you do something, every single day of our lives, we're asked to communicate. Whew, God Almighty, I feel good tonight, y'all. I preached Sunday that relationships are risky. And let me just flow tonight if y'all don't mind. Thank y'all for hanging with me. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all hanging with me. Relationships are risky because it's not guaranteed that you're going to get back what you put out. I just said something. Relationships are risky because it's not a guarantee that you're going to receive what you put out. I want to ask y'all a question. Those of you who are on the line tonight, what has been the most challenging part in relationships? And I'm talking about all relationships, not just romantic. What is the most challenging part of relationships? And where do you think the greatest problem in communication is? I'm going to ask those two questions. And I'm online to see who's got it. Y'all talk to me tonight. What is the greatest challenge in a relationship? Whether it be father, son, mother, daughter, husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, sister, brother. What is the challenge? What is the greatest challenge in relationships? All right. Sister Jackson, feeling shortchanged. All right. Let's deal with that. All right. Because whenever you enter into any relationships, and some relationships are put on you, when it comes to family, those relations are automatic. You're born into that relationship. Some friendships are automatic because some of you have friends because your parents were best friends and you're kind of forced together. Some friendships are chosen, right? But one of the strongest things is feeling shortchanged. How many of y'all on the line have ever felt shortchanged, where you feel like you've given yourself, right, and it did not return to you? All right. I want you to pay attention to something. The most important thing, it is not necessarily a deal breaker, but before you look at how beautiful somebody is, now this is probably in the romantic side or intimate side. When you look at somebody, unfortunately, the world has forced us to look outward and not inward. And the truth be told, y'all keep it real. It's hard for us to overlook how somebody looks on the outside. Y'all keep it above. The cosmetic industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry for a reason, right? The malls are full with makeup and eyeshadow, and the barbershops are always packed, and the hair salons are packed. Why? Because our image matters. But check this out. Jesus communicates, and I want you to see this visual. When Jesus goes to the cross, that was probably the most disgusting thing you could see. A man being crucified? I mean, think about how bloody that was. Think about how emotional. Think about how much trauma one would go through. And he did it all because he wants to be in relationship with you. And so he proved that there's something deeper when you break through this skin, when you get through this flesh, when you get over what somebody looks like. How many of y'all are keeping 100 tonight? How many of y'all have ever been attracted to somebody that didn't have anything to do with the physical part? You were attracted to their dedication. You were attracted to how they moved. You were attracted to how they lived their life. And listen, these could be people who you look up to, right? It doesn't have to be a guy or a girl. It can be a parent. You admire how that person parents. You admire how that person goes to work. You are admired by something that has nothing to do with their physical attributes. Y'all with me? All right, stay with me. Because in relationships, the reason that they are risky is because once my physical flesh deteriorates, what do I have left? All I have is my spirit and my soul. And so if you are only attracted to things that are physical, you're going to always lose, because it's going to be hard for you to communicate past what you see. It's easy to love somebody who looks good. It's easy to see beauty and get lost into that. But if you don't have nothing on the inside, you're going to fall by the wayside. So here's what I want you to pay attention to. For those of you who are single, right? Here's what you should pay attention to. I'm only talking to those of you who are on the line who are single. This is what you listen to. This is what you want to look for. How does the person communicate? But number one, how are you communicating? And your goal is to not just give a message, because here's what we do. I'm going to tell the person who I am. I'm going to tell them what they like. I'm going to put everything out front. And if they don't like it, they got to deal with it. You're messing up already. Man, Pastor, I'm talking back to myself. You own it tonight. We 36 minutes in. I told you I was going to go a little long tonight. All right? If you got to get off, I understand. But I feel like God is telling me I got to go tonight. Okay? We got to stop feeling like you accomplished something because you got something off your chest. Woof, I just said something. I'm going to say it again. Stop feeling accomplished because you got something off your chest. When it comes to communication, I need you to get this. When it comes to communication, you have not communicated unless the message has been received. Now, come here, single folks. If the goal is for the message to be received, then what you ought to be doing is not really telling somebody who you are and what they need to know in all your business. The number one thing you need to be working at is, how can I get one message across that they received? Woo! Man, I'm giving y'all bombs tonight. Every little step you make, every little communication you make is going to build a relationship that is strong. Jesus, when he walked the earth, he gave his disciples thing after thing after thing after thing. We think we got to say the big stuff. Where we work, how many kids we got, how many this, how many that. This is it. Some of us talk too much. And the only reason why I'm saying we talk too much is not that those things should not be talked about, but the most important thing that you want to do is to make sure you can communicate. Let me tell you why. How many of y'all have ever been in a season in your life where you felt lonely, but you had people around you? Talk, Smith. Come on, y'all, talk back to me on here. How many of y'all are live through, currently in a season where you can pick up your phone, you can call people, you got contacts in your phone, you got people on Facebook, but you still felt lonely? You know why? Because we do a very terrible job of communicating who we really are. You know what? You know who you meet on the first date? Somebody say, who, Pastor? Who you meet on the first date? You meet people's representatives. You don't meet the real person. If I'm preaching tonight, if I'm talking good to you, say amen. When you go out with somebody, whether it's business, whether it's intimate, whether it's personal, you meet their representative. Because we have been programmed and trained to tell people, and in our minds psychologically, we want to give people the best version of ourselves. Just getting ready to mess you up. Because I know what I'm getting ready to say, you ain't heard nobody say. Why is it nobody ever tells you what they're struggling on the first date? I don't hear nobody talking. We on the first date. We sitting down at dinner. And instead of telling you how much money I make, what my portfolio look like, what kind of car I drive, how I'm living my life, I skip all of that and begin to tell you what my struggles are and what I'm going through. You know why we ain't gonna do that? Because we fear that if we're real, that the person ain't gonna like us. The truth is, if you're more real and you keep a friendship with that person, or you keep the date going, the relationship is going to be more meaningful if you're more real in the beginning than you tell people stuff they want to hear just to fall in love with something that you can't keep up with. And that's why relationships go bad, because communication is about giving a clear message and the person receiving it. But when you're giving people what they want to hear, or what you think they want to hear, or you just saying stuff to make yourself look good, you can't maintain that. So by the time you get in a real committed relationship and people fall in love, they are frustrated because you built yourself up to be something that you're not. If you're hurting when I met you and you're trying to act like you're not hurting because you're afraid of running me away, then what you don't realize is you're being fraudulent. I'm 6 weeks in, and now I found out you're depressed. And you could have told me that on the first night. I was still going to pay for the meal. Just keep it 100. Now, why is that important? Because that's the same thing that's happening with Thomas, doubting Thomas and Jesus. Jesus wasn't fake about what he was going through. He told him what was going to happen. Are y'all feeling what I'm saying? Because you can't maintain something that you're being fraudulent at. And that's bad communication. And we start relationships, we start jobs, we make family members. And this is why we got so much dysfunction in our community, because we are portraying things that are not true. Because we have been taught that if you're hurting, if you're going through something, if you're feeling a certain kind of way, you got to be strong. Girl, go home and pray about it. Be strong. The Lord gonna send you through. And all of that is true, but you got to keep that in context. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? The most important thing you can do is communicate what is real in your heart. Because if I like you when you broken, I'm going to like you when you on top. If a person can handle your brokenness, they can handle your achievement. I just said something. If you start being real in the beginning, it's going to be easy for you to be real at the end. And here's this, I know this is going to make some folk mad. The reason that it's so hard for us to walk away from dysfunctional relationships is because of the ego that you have built up, that now the person is not being true to this false person that you've created, and your ego is bruised, and what you were feeling all along, they don't even know that person. It's half of y'all on this line tonight are in relationships where the person don't even know who you really are. Whew. I told you I had to stay on this thing a little longer tonight. I don't know. I'm 43 minutes in, but whoo, the Lord, I mean, God I got to call into this, and I might, y'all tell me, because this has really been on my spirit. I feel like I just need to do a separate Bible study to really deal with relationships. If you would like to see that, if you'd be interested in, let me know in the comment line. Just put yes. I just need to see the yeses. If I see the yeses, I know I'm on the right thing. If I see the no's, then I'm going to keep it moving. But if y'all want to do a deep dive, no sugarcoating, I'll get on once a week on a Zoom type meeting and really break this thing down so we can get to the bottom of some of our issues. Do y'all realize that the divorce rate in America is the highest ever, especially during the pandemic? Because for the first time, people who are in relationships had to spend more time with each other. Wow, I just said something. And amen. I see the yeses. Amen. So we're gonna work it out. And y'all just bear with me tonight. I'm gonna just give this a little bit more time, because I feel like I'm in something that I can't get out of right now. And I know this has gone way too long. I didn't did like 2 or 3 Bible studies. I know Taziana's like, Pastor, you didn't did a whole series tonight. It's just one of them nights. Now, a whole lot of people missed it because this is my first time ever doing this like this. But I'm not shocked, because that's what happened with Doubting Thomas. Let me read you the text. The text says, John 20, verse 25. Listen to this, y'all. Some of the other disciples told him, like y'all gonna tell some folks, y'all missed Bible study tonight. Like you really need to go back. It's gonna be like an hour Bible study, but you need to go back and listen to it on your way to work. Listen to this. So the other disciples told him, like y'all gonna tell other folk, we have seen the Lord. Y'all getting something tonight. Even if it's just God speaking to you and waking you up and making you deal with yourself. That's something. That's communication, right? Are you receiving it? Because the message is there. The message is stop worrying about being the sender and also equally worry about receiving. Because there's a lot of us on this line, including your pastor, who hasn't received a whole lot of stuff that I should be receiving. Whew. Hallelujah tonight. How many of us, truth be told, people have been trying to get a message to us, but we can't receive it? Come on now. You know, we can't be so egotistical to think that, you know, we just receiving everything we supposed to receive. So Thomas is not there. So you're dealing with a person who hasn't shown up. They telling him Jesus is alive. He's saying, no, I don't believe it. You daggone Skippy, you don't believe it. Negro, you ain't show up. How many of y'all are on the line tonight that are sick of folk who do all this talking but don't show up? God, some of y'all, and I want y'all to go back to relationships you got out of, okay? Not the ones you in now. And again, when I talk about relationships, it's general. Get what you can get from it. If it's your sister, all right, if it's your brother, if it's you as a mama, if it's you as a daddy, you got to grab it where you can reach it, right? Because it's general. How many of you will admit that if a joker would have just showed up, the relationship would be different today? The scenario would be different. How many of you are like me? There are certain things you can forgive, but daggone, you don't show up? What am I supposed to do when you don't show up? Right? Where does this thing go if you're just not going to show up? So here's what I want you to do. I want everybody to decide tonight that you're going to become a master communicator. I want everybody's commitment. And I'm just looking online. Who's going to commit to praying and asking God in every aspect of your life? You want to learn how to communicate different because we've been taught wrong. And there's a lot of bad habits that we've picked up over the years that we don't even know that we do. And we don't know that we've become these personalities. Here's what I'm declaring over your life tonight. You don't even realize who you really are because of the persona. The person that we know to be you today is a series of events that has happened in your life that has made you today, the you we know today. Amen. Amen. A series of events that has happened over the course of your life has made you the you that we know today. Can you imagine if you spiritually decided the switch is going to get cut on today? Because I'm getting ready to live like I ain't never lived before, right? We go to bed with broken relationships that we know are broken every single night of our lives. We go to bed broken. We go to bed and we know stuff ain't right with your daughter. You know stuff ain't right with your son. You know stuff ain't right with your spouse. You know stuff ain't right with your boyfriend. And you go to bed and we're not thinking, did I receive what the person said, or am I mad because the person didn't receive what I said? I just said something. I'm going to bed and I'm upset because I know my sister didn't get what I was trying to say. And you go to bed with that and you miss the fact that there's another part of this that if you would just be open enough to receive. That's why I said, especially when it comes to dating, stop giving everybody all of the great stuff about you. That's just the wrong way to do it. Because you are creating a persona. You're creating this theory, this idea about who you are. And that ain't who you are. I know you don't want to hear it. I know it don't sound good. I know it ain't popular. I know that ain't what you want me to say. But it's the truth. You have been programmed to give people these accolades about who you are, because we all want people to like us, right? We all want the relationship to go right. Trust your pastor on this. If you start with a little bit of the truth, if you start with a little bit of where you really at, and that's communicated, if the person really likes that, then they're going to really like you. And now you don't have to be 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 years, a lifetime in a relationship that you got to come back and repair. So y'all go back to the argument. Woo, this is about to be good, y'all. Woo, this is about to be good. Y'all go back to the argument, right? You arguing, you having a dispute with your boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, whoever. Y'all remember that part when they say, why are you trying to change me now? I just said something. You could have said this in the beginning. So what, you trying to change me now? Anybody ever been there? Put your hand up if you've been there. Put your hand up if you've been there. Okay. You know why they said that? Because the reason that they said that is because you built up this idea about yourself that is not true. We don't ever bring our raw self to a relationship because we are taught, right? Listen, I'm talking to all the sisters on the line tonight. Let's say you go out on a date with a guy, right? First date, the guy says, I have dreams of starting my own business. I haven't started it yet. I'm struggling right now. I'm broke. It's been rough for me. What are y'all thinking, women? Put it in the comment line while I'm talking. You know, I really like you. I'm feeling you. But, you know, I'm trying to figure some stuff out in my life. Listen, women, when a man says, I'm trying to figure some stuff out, he's testing to see if he can be real with you. He's testing to see, are you going to accept where I am today? Y'all ain't talking to me in here. I'm going through some stuff. I'm trying to figure some stuff out. He's gauging how she responded, what she's saying back, right? Because there's a part of us all that want to be real. Are we receptive to real? Girl, how was the first date? Girl, let me tell you, this joker ain't got no job. He ain't got no car. He telling me, I'm going to tell y'all something that's really going to blow your mind. My wife said she would never date a guy without a car. Our first date, we walked because I was that guy. I'll be 20 years married next year. Because when we talk for real. Look, I ain't got nothing but a dream. But if you jump on board, I'm going to ride with you. So see, I'm coming real out the gate because I'm not getting ready to give you no expectations that I know I can't get. I'm telling you, if you want to ride, if you want to grind, hop on this train. If you don't, then I'm telling you, this is where I'm at today. And every step of the way, that girl has walked with me. That's why anything Emma Tay wants, she gonna get. And if I can't get it, I'm gonna figure out how to get it. Ask my friends. That girl travel all over the world, and she do most of that for free because she's put herself in position to do that. When you are real and authentic with yourself, when you stay communicating with yourself, when you understand that you got to stop getting folks to like you, you got to stop trying to put all of this stuff out there that ain't real, and you come with your real, authentic self, if they like that, there ain't nothing else for us to talk about. I know I got me somebody who's going to ride or die. All right, I'm going to close this out. I have thoroughly, when I say, y'all, we done been on here and had a good time, I feel like it's 54 minutes in. I might as well go the whole hour. I might as well give y'all 7 more minutes. All right. Here it is. Let me give y'all this. I'm gonna give y'all a treat tonight. You know our relationships are hard. Relationships are hard, I told you, because there's no guarantee that you're gonna receive what you put out. The other reason that relationships are hard is because you can give your most authentic self to somebody. Watch this. And the person can take advantage of the love and the communication and the sacrifice that you give. That is the risk in relationships. Listen, it was very risky for Jesus to love those disciples. It was so risky that the ones that he loved the most actually betrayed him. That's how risky it is. That's how risky a relationship is. I want you to cut the fluff out of Hollywood love. I say this, y'all will hear me say this. Everybody wants the dress, but they don't want the marriage. It's not okay to just look good on your day. You come down the aisle in your beautiful white dress, and I see all these beautiful weddings on YouTube, and much up to everybody. If that's your dream, if that's your goal, if that's what you want in your life, your pastors believe in that for you. I ain't hating on that. But I also am real enough to know that when that wedding day is over, do you know that 78% of people who wake up the next day are depressed because they put the money on the party and did not invest in the relationship? They put their money on tuxedos and custom-made gowns and didn't realize that the most valuable thing that they had, the most important thing they had, was to communicate to that person who they really are. As I close tonight, I want to ask you that question. Who are you for real? Can you step out of your ego? Can you step back from your life? Do you understand that receiving is just as important as giving? And if you have not become a master at giving and receiving, there is a problem in the middle, which is the message. I'm going to say this again because I want you to get off the phone. I want you to wrestle with this word, communication. And what is communication? The transferring of information from one person to another. And what must communication have? Communication must have a person who is giving, a person who is receiving, and a person who is sharing. And what is the ingredients in the giving, receiving, and sharing? Communication evolves around the sender, the message, and the recipient. Tonight, you are either the giver or the receiver. Tonight, you are either the sender or the recipient. The problem is not the sender. The problem is not the receiver. The problem is the message. That's all I got. Work on your message, and your life will drastically change. Listen, people, God, you're working on the wrong stuff. You're working on the wrong stuff. Think about this. Most of us are physically working on ourselves to get ourselves ready for somebody. Y'all think about that. We done signed up for the gym. We got all these Zumba classes and YouTube videos we watching. We trying to get our body right. Everybody talking about eating healthy and all that's good, but it ain't going to help you when you get in a relationship. It ain't going to help you when somebody shows up. It ain't going to help you when you get your next job. It's not going to help you at the next family meeting. All of that is good, but it ain't going to help you. The only thing that will help you if you start paying attention to how you deliver messages. Y'all sit in it, because I still got 2 minutes. You sit in that. I don't care if you got Best Buy 2022. It ain't going to help you when you sitting down talking to your son who is angry. It ain't going to help you talking to your sister and y'all ain't been the same since y'all played hopscotch. It ain't going to help you on your job if you do not understand the power that communication has. And really, the only thing that's important in communication is that middle section. Forget about the sender, because we know how to send. We got a problem with receiving, and we absolutely got a problem with the message. It ain't good enough that you said what you wanted to say. Well, who did it help? Who y'all helping? I got that off my chest. Y'all will get somebody told, get some stuff off your chest, and call somebody and tell them how good you feel because you feel like I released it from me and you didn't help nobody because you did not invest in the message. All you did was said something and got it off your chest, and a lot of times made things worse because you don't understand that the message is equally as important as sending. And if I send something, and it hadn't been received, then I haven't completed the circle of communication. Therefore, I got a problem at home. I got a problem with my children. I got a problem on my job. I got a problem at the church. And y'all wondering why we got so many problems in the world is because we are stuck with not knowing how to communicate messages to people. Because we think, because we said something, they supposed to get it. I told them I love them. Really? That's why I asked y'all earlier. I asked you earlier, what is the challenge in relationships? I asked you to put it in the comment line. The problem we're having, people, we don't know how to communicate. And when you're not being real, that ain't communication. When you're not saying what's really hurting you, there are three of y'all on this line tonight that's hurting from a relationship. And the truth be told, you have not been honest with that person. And because you haven't been honest with that person, the person is continually doing things to hurt you because they are unaware of how you really feel. And it ain't no different. You can put any relationship in it. We're going about things because now your ego is in it. See, the longer you go being fake and phony with people, the deeper the lie gets. And you got folk in your family today who think y'all best friends, who you absolutely cannot stand. Y'all stop it. Stop it. Stop it. You're in relationships and you ain't happy. You go to bed feeling lonely by yourself because you feel like, because here's the other thing you say. Well, if I be real, I'm gonna hurt their feelings. If you would have been real from the jump, you wouldn't even be in a position to hurt my feelings, because if you would have started real, you wouldn't have to come back to clean up something that you misled me on. Woof, I just said something. God almighty. So we just misleading people, huh? Is that what we doing? Suffering in silence, Mr. Moore. Suffering in silence, bleeding, going to bed, depressed, frustrated, angry, lost, lonely. Y'all talk to me. What? Because ain't nothing on TV better than this. This is what we going through. And we show up for an hour for a feel-good shot, and we go right back to that same life. You know why? Because we have not invested in communication. If I told y'all tonight communication is on sale for $100, 99% of y'all will hang up the phone. You wouldn't even think about investing that. I ain't getting ready to give nobody $100 for them to tell me how to communicate. But you spend thousands of dollars a year trying to create a life that still ain't made you happy. God almighty. The trip ain't gonna do it. The outfit ain't do it. You got all kind of walking classes you with. That ain't did it. You got all kind of groups you're a part of. That ain't did it. Y'all talk to me up in here. You can't say amen, say ouch. We spend thousands of dollars a year on stuff that don't make us happy. You know why? Because you won't invest in the number one thing that you should be invested in. What is that, Pastor? Learning how to communicate. Because there's nothing in your life that can escape your ability to communicate. Show me where in life, anything in life, where communication ain't a part of. You know, the truth is, the truth costs too much. And we would rather feel good than to honestly be happy. That's the truth. I can pay for this fake life, because it's going to keep me believing that I ain't got to deal with my pain. And when you go into bed in pain, when you go into bed frustrated, when you go into bed and ain't happy, when you go into bed and you're not healthy, when you go into bed and you can't sleep, when you go into bed and you waking up every other hour, how many of y'all on the line have actually slept through the night on a continuous basis? We can't do it because we're not in position. Our lives, think about how many fake relationships. Y'all be honest. I don't know who's going to be honest tonight. I want to ask a question. How many people can be honest and say there's a lot of relationships in your life based off of what we talked about tonight that are really false? Just be honest. I'm talking about family, intimate relationships, jobs, communication. Invest in communication. This is what Christ did. He invested himself, his real self, in his disciples. So he wasn't shocked when Peter denied him. He wasn't shocked when Thomas doubted him. He wasn't shocked when he went to Calvary's mountain and they didn't believe. He wasn't shocked when he went to the tomb and they thought, where did they put Jesus? Where is he hiding at? He ain't shocked. You know why he wasn't shocked? Because he invested himself in them. What would happen, y'all, if we invested in our relationships? What would happen if we brought our most authentic relationship? In other words, instead of me thinking and being excited about getting you told or saying something to get something off my mind, what if I went to bed saying, how can I communicate this message? Whew. Boy, y'all talking about you're talking about love. Let me tell you what love is. Love is when you can't sleep at night because all you want to do is communicate a message to somebody. That's love. What ain't love is when you up all night because you want to get somebody something off your chest. That's two different things. Let me rewind that so you can get it again. Love is not staying up all night to tell somebody something. Love is when you up all night because you care so much about the person, because you are invested in the person, that all you're thinking about is not what you gotta say, but how you gonna say it. Woo! Man, I want somebody to love me like that. Where Reverend T at? Somebody get Reverend T on the line. Somebody text messenger and say, girl, you better stay up and try to figure out how to get that message to that brother. I love it. That's love. When your mind is, how can I, it's kind of like, ladies and gentlemen, if somebody just tell you they love you, but they don't think about what they put in it, to say it, to communicate it, right? That's really the sauce in it. Can I get an amen? When you say, God, I'm going to stay up to let my friend know how much that friend means to you. That's love. Let me think of 100 ways I can do this. But that ain't what we do. We get something in our mind. We get something in our head. We like, okay, in the morning, I'm letting this person gonna know how I feel. And you communicate that to the person. And then you mad at the person because the person didn't receive it, even if it was true. Because remember, truth don't have nothing to do with communication. You can be true all day. But the only thing that makes it communication is if it's been received. Our problem is we don't want to do the work. So we take the position of they not going to receive it anyway. I know I just said something. We say they ain't going to receive it anyway, so I'm going to say it anyway. That's what we do. Instead of putting in, because the work says that could be true, but let's do the work. Okay, I'm done, y'all. I'll take any questions. We didn't win a whole full hour on this, but I have thoroughly enjoyed this. What's on your mind? What's on your heart? I'll take a few questions. Anything that has been said tonight that you want clarification on? Anything you want me to say before we go off? Did y'all enjoy this tonight? Let me know. Did y'all enjoy it? Was this good? Do we need to do more of this? Is this the kind of subjects we need to do a deep dive in? Talk to me. Come on, y'all talk to me. Yes, I see a yes. I see one yes. Y'all talk to me. All right. Somebody give me something. We can't just leave like this. Let's end with a couple of questions. I enjoyed it. Did y'all enjoy it? All right. Give me something to close on. Give me something. Somebody ask something. What's lingering? What's out there? Thank you, Brother Moore. Thank you, Sister Freeman. Thank you, Sister Chambers. Thank you, Sister Jackson. Thank you, Sister Woodson. I see my ride or dies on. I love y'all. Thank you, Sister Reese. God bless you. Thank you. Love you. So much easier to be real in communication. Amen to that, sister. So much easier. Y'all will save a lot of headache if y'all stop building up yourself to be something and just be you from the jump. You will save a whole lot of headache. And that's, you know, what happens is, have y'all ever been in a conversation and somebody says, I know that person was like that? How many, all of us have said it, right? You know how you find out something about a personality that you just shocked about? Like, it's like seeing somebody curse who you believe ain't a cursor. Now, if you know the person curse and you hear him curse, you ain't shocked by that because you know it. But if you faking like you don't, and then all of a sudden you do, then you got people looking at you crazy. Be real from the jump. That's what Sister Reese is saying. Be you. Whoever the you is, be that. Okay? I loved it too, y'all. Authentic. Yep, we got to be authentic. We're going to work this out. You know what? Thank you, Brother Moore. Let's pray for this safe place. I think what I'm gonna do is because I'm getting ready to go off social media with Bible study because there's so much I want to say, but social media is a platform that you don't have the intimacy of talking back to people, and then this kind of goes everywhere, and people can take bits and parts of what you said and turn it into something. So I'm really thinking about doing small groups and really doing deep dives with conversations like this. Like communication may be one thing, but we may talk about money. We may talk about a number of things, but in a different setting. Because I'm the type of pastor where I want us to get help. I'm not interested in us talking to sound good, right? When I lead Bible study, I want to feel convicted. I want to feel like something is on my mind. I want to feel like there's something for me to pray about, something for me to do, something for me to get better. And how many of y'all want to be better? If you want to be better, put better in the comment line. Let me see how many people want to be better. Because if we want to be better, I want you to invest in this time. Let's all come up with subjects, right? What subjects? Let me do this now before we go out. What kind of subjects would y'all like to talk about? Everybody just throw one in the comment line and I'll read them out. Come on, real quick, y'all. Throw them out in the comment line. Better. I see my betters coming in. But what kind of subjects do y'all want to do like the deep dive, like unfiltered conversations? Okay, accountability. I like that one. Thank you, Brother Moore. Come on, y'all, give it to me. Come on. Come on, Sister Thomas. I know you got one. Come on, give it to me. Come on, Sister Benson. Give me one. What type of conversations do y'all want to have? I see my betters coming in. What kind of transparency? All right. So we got transparency. We got accountability. And I'm going to bring friends on. I'm going to have, we going to really have some fun. Creating the community we want to see. Amen. Amen. Emotional. Yes. Emotional agility. I love that. Sister Thomas. I love that. Give me some more. Come on, y'all. We got a few more minutes. Hurry up. Give me some more. How to take self-responsibility. Yes. And y'all, when I say we gonna go there, like we getting ready to turn this thing all the way out. Because I believe that God is going to use us to really transform the world. And it's going to start with our lives transforming, right? Emotional maturity. Yes. Attorney Brown, love that. Emotional maturity. And that's half the battle, right? Because we don't know. Let me say this last thing as these are coming in. At some point, we got to do better than this. Real talk. At some point, y'all, because we're all over the place, right? How we deal with one another, how we are in our relationship, and how we are. You can always tell the health of a community by how the community is. So we got a lot of problems in the Bay, right? So there's a lot of conversations that I want to talk about to give clarity and support on, because even how we treat diversified communities. You have a whole homosexual community here. You have a whole transgender community here. You have discrimination in the Black church. You have discrimination against women. You have sexism, racism, all of these things that have plagued the Black church. And unfortunately, in my opinion, I don't think we've handled it good. That's just my opinion, y'all, but I really don't think we've handled it good. And so, I'm arguing that all of these problems start with how we communicate, right? Because if you become a master communication, if you get a master's degree in communication, it's going to shift the community. Because once you start dealing with people on a different level, that energy is going to catch on, and it's going to change the culture of our community, and in particularly our church. Okay? Rejection. Ooh, that's a good one. Because see, I was the dude on the other end getting rejected. I ain't like 90% of y'all who were just rejecting folks. See, y'all was bullies to me. All y'all on this line, 90% of y'all on this line was chopping jokers up, and I was on the other end of that. Can I get an amen? Do I have a shoulder to lean on? All right, lots to unpack, whole bunch to do. Absolutely awesome night, guys. I think this might have been my funnest Bible study ever. And the only reason I went this long, because my wife would have been like, dude, it's 20 minutes. You got to get off. She'd been like, time, cat. Don't tell her I said that. Love y'all. Same place, same time. I want to personally invite you to tune in to our Sunday service. We're on YouTube and Facebook Live at and I try to do what God is saying. I love y'all. Have an amazing night. Tell somebody you love them, and let's work on being better communicators. Peace.